The current geometry dash we know is completely different from what it used to be in the past, as you guys may have noticed. While nowadays we have levels that look like this, this, and this, in the past, the best geometry dash level was this one. You wouldn't believe me if I told you this level was actually the peak of skill demonstration at the time it was made. And with that in mind, I started to wonder, how would Stereo Madness, in which is a really old level, look like if it had a more updated decoration? I know there are a lot of Stereo Madness remakes over GD already, but they are all pretty outdated and kinda generic, to be honest. So that's why in this video I'll be making Stereo Madness, but redecorated. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so I'm just gonna be making this level for fun. I don't really plan to put a lot of effort into it. So I'm gonna be making a really simple decoration and that's gonna be it. Although that doesn't mean it's gonna look bad, hopefully. Anyways, I started off by making some very generic blue and purple spikes, and then I proceeded to make the, I'd say, classic pillar blocks from Stereo Madness. I know that Stereo Madness is mostly a blue atmosphere level, but I'm gonna add some purple on it just for it not to get too monochromatic. Basically, for these pillars, I just made the usual V12 decoration, in which is a lot of glow, lines, and of course 3D. I was gonna copy and paste this pillar 3 times on this section, but I decided to make the middle one to be different, just for it not to get too repetitive, you know. After doing the pillars, I decided to decorate those gigantic structures from the level. I didn't really want to change the shape of the structures because I feel like doing it would pretty much remove the Stereo Madness essence of this level a little bit. For these small structures, I just did some pretty basic decoration, as you can see here, but for the big ones, I had a pretty cool idea of something to add on them. So as you can see here, I started to make a kind of purple thing on the middle of it that went from its beginning all the way to its end. Then I put some glow and some bright details into it, and it ended up looking pretty good. After it, I just made a 3D on it all, and then I just threw in some random square-shaped details just like that. After finishing this gigantic structure, I pretty much just copied and pasted its details to all the other blocks from the part. And the last thing I made to finish the designs were the classic Stereo Madness pads, and I just made a really basic decoration into them, in which I think ended up working pretty well. After the designs, it was time to make the ground spikes. And as you may know, Stereo Madness ground spikes are really simple, so I'll be keeping my ground spikes simple as well. I'm just gonna add some blue and purple glowy details, and I'm also gonna put some spikes in front of them, just like that. The ground spikes are looking pretty good, I think. But now it is time to make the background. As you can see, Stereo Madness does not have a custom background at all. But since this is a remake from Stereo Madness, we are adding one for sure. I didn't want to make anything super complicated for it, so I just made a lot of squares with a 3D, and I added a kind of parallax effects on it, just like that. And also, I decided to make a foreground for this part. I just picked up a square from the background, made it bigger, and put it on the T3 layer. And it ended up looking kinda weird, I guess. I'll just keep it. If it still looks ugly when I finish the level, I'm just gonna remove it. Anyways, this is how it is looking like so far. Now it is time to make the air deco. Stereo Madness has literally no air deco at all, so I will have to try to make something up for it. I just started putting some random pillars behind everything on the level, as I pretty much always do for my air decos. For the 3 classic Stereo Madness structures here, I did a gigantic blocks wall behind of it, because I just thought it would look cool, I guess. Then I put some very over decorated arrows on them, and I decided to put some very bright glow going out from the ground of the level, just like that. As you can see, even with all of these blocks walls and all of these arrows, the level still looks pretty empty, so I have to put some extra details on it. To be honest, I was extremely out of ideas here. Like, I genuinely didn't know what to do to fill this level up. I was literally considering just leaving it empty and call this a finished thing at that point, but no. I knew I wouldn't feel good with myself if I did it, so I just started to look for some inspiration. And when I was watching some random GD levels, I finally got an idea. So to fill the empty space from this part, I decided to make some random bright blocks just like that. Also, I put some spikes on them and I made their color change alongside with the pulses from the level. Also, I put some glow lasers upon them and I finally had managed to kinda fill up this level. Even with those blocks I made, the level still looked really empty, to be honest. And since I didn't know what else to do, I just put some more arrows with glow lasers underneath them. And also I made these small little diamond shaped air deco things. And now it was actually looking pretty good, hopefully. Also, I tried to make some random things for the air deco, as you can see here, but it ended up looking really weird, so I just removed it. Well, now as you can see, this part is practically done, but before calling it a finished thing, I really wanted to make something special for this small little pet section. It's hard to explain it, but I wanted to make the player feel like it's entering to another dimension as soon as it enters this section. Like, I wanted to make something similar to what I did for this part, right here. As you can see, the player is just playing the level normally until suddenly it enters to a section in which is something totally different from the rest of the level. I really wanted to make something similar to it, to this little pet section. So that's what I started to do. And I must say, doing it was really harder than I thought it would be. First, I started to spam a lot of those blocks wow over this section, and this is how it ended up looking like. Yes, I don't know why I thought something like this could actually work, but anyways. After removing that atrocity, I just decided to put some gigantic glow pillars behind everything on this section. I made some blue and purple glow pillars, and also I made their colors to change as the level pulses. And to be honest, seeing it now, I really like how it ended up looking like. Now, the last thing I'm gonna make on this part is to add some moves on it. See, on my decorations, I usually like to add a lot of moves and to make pretty much every single thing on the part go up and down, just like that. But for this part, since it's a Stereo Madness remake, I didn't want to go too crazy. I mostly added moves to the air deco and to those colorful blocks, and also I made those pads from this section to move in a kind of wave vibe, if you get what I mean. As soon as I opened the level editor, I didn't know what to do. As you already know, the Stereo Madness ship part is literally emptier than my life, and that wasn't really helping me to get ideas. So since I didn't know what to do, I decided to start it by doing some very glowy and over-decorated spikes. After it, I decided to make some really simple block designs, and whenever I say the word simple, things usually don't end up looking simple at all, but this time I decided I would try my absolute best not to overdo it. So I just started placing some random blocks here and then put some glow, lines and fading lines around it just like that. After it, I just copy and pasted this small square thing and put it on the top part of these pillars, and then I just put some more glow and lines in it, and the first block design was basically done. Come on. You can't say this does not look simple. As you can see, the ship part of Stereo Madness has practically only pillars as block designs, and I could literally just copy and paste this block over it all and it would be finished. But I decided to make a small variation from it real quick, just for it not to look repetitive. And yeah, I basically spammed these two blocks all over the part, made a 3D on them, and the block designs were already finished. And this is how this part was looking like so far. After doing the block designs and the spikes, I had no idea what to do next. As you guys know, I usually am a person who's pretty much always out of ideas. that's why I make glow style. But this time, my situation was too serious. I couldn't think about anything to make here at all. So I just decided to go and procrastinate a bit, you know. I started to watch some random YouTube videos until I came across to this video right here. And I'm gonna lie, I didn't even watch it, but this thumbnail gave me a super crazy idea, and I'm gonna show you what it was. I basically started making a circle using those kinda stereo madness hashtag blocks. After it, I made some 3D lines around it, so it won't kill the player, and this is how it was looking so far. Now, I just copied and pasted it a little bit and made some kind of fake stereo madness pillars onto every circle. After it, I just made it all rotate in different directions, and I just put some more colorful circles into it, and also some more random details that just came into my mind randomly. The last thing I did in this background was to reduce the opacity from some of the circles in the middle of it, and the background was basically done. I managed to finish it in about 20 minutes, and in my opinion, it looks really nice, way better than what I expected for sure. Now, it was time to make the air deco, and at the beginning, as always, I had no idea what to do here, so I just started experimenting some random things. The first thing I tried to do here was copy and paste some of the arrows from the first part into it, but I didn't like it at all. Practically, everything I did here ended up somehow not working or looking very unfitting and out of place, so I came to the realization that this background just does not fit to any air deco at all. That's why, out of nowhere, I had another really weird idea. What if I made the air deco in the background instead of putting it into the part? And that's what I tried to experiment. I started to make some very glowy and spammed arrows in some random spots of the background and just made them all rotate alongside with it, as you can see here. And somehow it worked out pretty well, and it took me only 10 minutes to get it done, so I was really happy with it. With that, the Stereo Madness ship section is finally remade, and this is how it looks like. Since it was too easy to remake and didn't take me too long, I decided to make this section right afterwards as well, so this video doesn't get too short. And for the next section, surprisingly, I had an idea for it already. So the first thing I started to make here was the block designs, as I pretty much always do. I basically just made a lot of lines and glow for the base, and then I made a kind of half block detail on the top of it and put some black glow under it to give it a kind of shading effect, and I thought it looked pretty cool. Now I just made a 3D in it really quickly, and the first block was basically done. Since I don't wanna just go and copy and paste a lot of pillars in this part, I am once again gonna make a variation from it so the blocks don't look too repetitive. I basically do the same thing I did for the first block here, except that instead of using half blocks on top of it, I'm gonna just spam some squares, and then I'll just put some black glow under it, a 3D, and also spam some glow on top of it all, and the variation from the pillar is basically done. After copying and pasting these two pillars over the entire section, I'm just gonna make some fake blocks here, where I gotta get the first coin from the level. And yeah, this section's pillars are basically done, and I am really proud of my copy and pasting technique. After finishing the pillars, I just made a really simple spike, and for it, I used those rainbow blocks that nobody really uses. Surprisingly, they actually look pretty cool when you color them like this. After doing this spike, I just kinda spammed it over the ground spikes just to make a nice contrast on it, and also I used it to decorate these big structures, as you can see here. After it, I just made a 3D on the remaining blocks, and yeah. Now I, once again, found myself without any ideas of what to make here. This part is looking really empty, and I just didn't know what to put to fill in this empty space. So once again, I decided to look for inspiration from other levels, and fortunately, I managed to come up with an idea. I basically started to make some squares in different sizes here, and then for their details, I just spammed a lot of squares into them, just like that. For the big square though, I decided to put some blue lines around it just to give it a nice variation. Then, I just started to copy and paste them around the part, and after making a 3D on them, I decided to put some blue lines kinda connecting them, because I thought it would give a little more of color variation for this part in general, and I think it looks really nice, to be honest. And yeah, now I can safely say I'm finally done with the block designs from this part. After it, it was time to make the air deco from this section, and I actually had a pretty nice idea for it as well. I kinda wanted to make something similar to what I did for the first part of this level. Basically, I wanted to make the player feel like it's entering into another dimension, or like a totally different place, or something like that, as soon as it enters this pillar section. I just started to make some giant pillars here, dividing the level from the in quotes different dimension, and then I started to put some stars and some purple glow between them. After it, I just made some meteors falling over the skies of this another dimension in different colors, and I think I managed to make it work somehow. Now I'm just gonna make some regular glowy and spammed arrows here, and I will put some blue glow lasers under them so it gets cooler. Probably. Then I'll just do some small arrows and some diamond shaped air decorations here to fill in the empty space of this part, and the air deco is basically done. After making the air deco, I had to make the background of this part, and for it, I didn't want to go too crazy and make a really complex thing. Not only I didn't have any idea of what to do, but also I was a bit lazy because I was decorating for way too much time already. I just made some very simple black #StarMadness blocks with low opacity going rightwards, and it was basically done. After the BG, I thought about adding some moves in this section real quick, because why not? I would just spam a lot of move triggers here and make some air decos and some blocks go up and down, just to give a better atmosphere for this part, just like that. Oh gosh, I am glad this is not an extreme demon and I don't have to actually put effort into the moves. And yeah, after 4 hours of work, this is how the 2 sections I did in this video are looking like so far. Alright, so today I'm gonna be remaking that red part from Stereo Madness, in which is one of the last ones from the level. And believe it or not, I actually had some cool ideas for it, surprisingly. The first thing I did was this spike, and for its details, I decided to use some of those wavy slopes. And not gonna lie, I think I finally managed to make a slightly different looking spike after all these years of playing this game. After making this spike, I made a kind of variation of it, and just spammed these 2 spikes all over this part. And then I decided to start making the block design. I didn't want to do anything too complicated for it, since I wanted the main focus of this part to be the background, so I just made a very simple thing here. Just spammed some blocks, made a variation from it, a 3D, and just placed these 2 blocks all over the part, as you can see here. Then, for the platforms, I made this very glowy one using some slopes and obviously glow, and also I decided to make a small variation from it real quick. Yes, as you can tell, I really like making variations. After spamming the platforms in this part, the block designs were actually done in 20 minutes, but we don't talk about that. After finishing the block designs, I decided to go crazy with the background for this part. I really had a cool idea for it, but at the same time, I was so unsure if it was actually gonna work. Like for real, I almost gave up on it in the middle of the building process because I was genuinely worried about it. As you can see here, I basically started making a gigantic fake ceremonies structure behind everything in this part, using 3D lines as its outlines and using some fake spikes on top of it, so you know, it doesn't kill the player. After it, I made it all move leftwards, and when I looked at it, it was looking kinda terrible, to be honest. It's just that the background was blending in with the blocks too much. Like, it didn't stand out and it was just making it look really messy in general, so yeah, I was pretty sad with it right off the bat. But then, I had an idea to add a detail that would straight up save this background, and this detail was nothing more, nothing less than glow. Yes, I added some glow in front of the blocks and made some more structures behind it, and it actually gave it a cool parallax effect and made it really stand out from the block designs from the parts. So it was the moment I realized that my idea was actually going to work. After making a lot of blocks with the parallax effects and glow, I made a lot of gigantic Stereo Madness pillars in this background and made them have a cool parallax effect as well. I even made some pillars in front of everything in the T3 layer, so it gets even cooler, maybe. And finally, I just did some moves on it all, making everything in this background go up and down, and to finish it off, I made this pretty cool transition that makes all the blocks from the background kinda emerge from the ground as soon as you get in this part. And yeah, the background is basically done, and honestly, I couldn't be more proud of it. This part is pretty much complete for me at this point, but of course, I do have to put some extra things to give it a little more charm and make it less empty. The first thing I decided to make was the ground spikes, and since I've used the same ground spikes throughout the entire level, I decided to use a different one for this part, just to make it less repetitive. After putting some ground spikes, I made some arrows and some saws on top of it, and I think it looks really nice actually. After copying and pasting the ground spikes a lot, I made some glow lasers under some blocks, and then I decided to make some things to fill in the top part of this section. And since I had no idea of what to do, I decided to just make some more block designs real quick. But again, since I wasn't feeling like putting effort in it, I decided to use my secret ultimate block design rushing technique. And this technique consists on making all the block designs at the same time and then copying and pasting them all around the part. I basically started to make a lot of different structures. I made some glow in them, a 3D, and for their details, I just made a lot of colorful squares, and also I made some ground spikes around them. And yeah, as you can see, I basically managed to finish about 7 blocks in 10 minutes. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, my ultimate technique that you should really avoid using, otherwise you're gonna become as lazy as me. Anyways, I just spread these block designs all over this part and it was finished. Now it is time to make the air deco, and while I was playing this level, messing around, just thinking about what else I could be adding here, I suddenly had an inner thought telling me to add some blue details in this part for some reason. And I don't even know why, but I decided to give these inner thoughts a listen and actually try to do what they told me. I started adding some of those Stereo Madness blocks with a blue base behind them, and then I just made a little nice arrow in it and just copy and pasted it around the part, especially under the blocks on top, so it looks like they're coming out from under them. And then I just made a small version from it, a diamond shaped air decoration, copy pasted them around the part as well, and finally just made some blue glow lasers on certain places of the part, and the air deco was basically done. Now I will just make a little funny thing in the middle of this section just for fun. So, as some of you know, recently I made a voting poll on my community section asking what would be the best name for this Stereo Madness remake I'm doing, and the winner option was this one. SM2 feature please LOL. And since I really like this name, I'm gonna add a small reference to it here in the middle of this section. I basically made some blue rectangles here, and then I made some black blocks in the middle of them and made some details to resemble a TV here, just like that. After it, I wrote in the middle of them sequentially feature please lol, and this is how it looks like. Now this level is bound to get a feature, I have no doubt about it. The last thing I'm gonna do here is just to add some moves on the blocks at the speed of light. I'll basically make everything go up and down as I always do, and yeah, this entire section was done within a day, and you can call me crazy, but I'm gonna do the next one as well and finish this entire level right now. I had a pretty cool idea for the next section, and I will explain this idea to you right now. First, I started to make a glow style block design. Nothing too different from what I always do. I just made a lot of glow lasers and random things, and then I just copy and pasted it and its details to all the other blocks in this part. And then I did a rather weird thing. I put all the blocks in a group and made them disappear. Why would you make all the blocks disappear, you may ask me? And I'll tell you, my friends, it's for this. So basically, this part alternates between the old and the new Star of Madness decoration. Looks pretty cool, right? After block designs, I just decided to make some ground spikes here, using some slopes and spikes. And after it, I decided to make the air deco. Honestly, looking at the vast emptiness that Star of Madness offers, I found myself lost in ideas once again. And whenever I am without ideas for air decos, I always go to the never-failing option to make a gigantic blocks wall with arrows in the middle of it. Come on, don't blame me. It's not my fault that it actually works really well, okay? Even with the blocks walls and the arrows I made, this part still had a lot of really empty spots, so I just decided to make some really gigantic arrows to fill in the empty space, and surprisingly, it worked, and don't even ask me why. After making the air deco, I just made a tea tree glow in this part, because it always looks good, and then I decided to make a particles effect in this section, because I thought it would really fit to this song. Like seriously, just listen to it and tell me that it doesn't fit to some particles. And finally, I just made some air deco in the coin root of the level, and this is how the last part is looking like. At this point, this level is practically done. I just need to make a little nice ending art here real quick. So the first thing I did was ask my friend Hugo to help me get the background from the ship part of this level and move it to the end screen of it, in which somehow he did it easily, and I don't know how he does it. This guy knows absolutely everything about triggers in this game. Check him out, by the way, he's a really good creator. And after it, I just made a little nice art that will surely fit to the name of this level and to my channel itself as well, obviously. This is the final result. I honestly don't think I've ever seen any ending art better than this one, to be honest. And after a long 3 episodes journey, I finally managed to finish this entire level, and this is how it looks like. Here's the ID if you wanna check it out. I will leave it in the description as well, so you can copy it if you want. It was a really fun experience to build this, to be honest, and I'm glad I actually managed to finish a level after all these years of playing this game. But anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.